Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Intentional Parenting Summit. I'm Dana Yoakley, founder of Delight in Parenting and co-host of this amazing summit. On my interview today, I have here with me our next speaker, Leslie Josel. Well, welcome, Leslie. So happy to have you here today.
Still drinking my coffee. Welcome. Thank you so much for having me. What I was telling everyone, I was telling you before, and it's I've been around for a long time and I've never met you. And I love when there's an opportunity to meet some like-minded professionals doing the work that we're all doing. So
Yes.
I'm especially excited for today.
Yeah, I'm excited
Yeah.
to have you as well because I know that you have a wealth of experience and expertise, and I know our audience could
Aw.
use picking your brain today. So we're gonna try to give them,
That's just a
a
really
short
nice
version of,
way of
yeah.
saying I'm old.
Well, no, really, it's like
I'm
it's
kidding.
a
I'm kidding.
wisdom. Like break it down for us so we don't have
Yes.
to spend time reading all these books and like
Uh,
looking online, like
right?
tell us what we need to know so we can,
100%. Absolutely. We're going to get into
yeah.
it today.
Yeah, I love that. So, Leslie is an award-winning ADHD student and parenting coach and is the founder of Order Out of Chaos, a 20-plus year company whose mission is to support parents and professionals raising neurodivergent students. She's an award-winning author of 3 books, creator of the award-winning academic planners, Tools for Time Management, and an internationally acclaimed speaker. Leslie's been named one of the top time management experts in the world by global gurus 8 years in a row. Until recently, she wrote the weekly Dear ADHD Family Coach column for Attitude magazine, the premier magazine for those with ADHD. So yeah, so much wealth and experience, and definitely
Thank
going to pick
you.
your brain today and
Sure.
get as much as we can in the
I'm
time
here
we
to be
have.
picked.
Yeah. Awesome. So our topic for today is the overwhelmed child, parenting
Yes.
children with big emotions. And this is really near and dear to my heart. I have 3 children, and 1 out of 3 happens to be a highly sensitive child that tends to have just genetically, bigger emotions than my other kids. And, as a parent, sometimes this can, I think, throw us for a loop if we're not equipped with the tools and resources of how to
Sure.
reframe this. What does this mean? Like,
Right.
is
How do
my
I
kid
respond
like
to it? How do I respond?
exactly how
Or
to
what's going
respond to
on
it?
underneath? Right.
Exactly. Information, knowledge, and then skills and resources of what to do and what to say in the moment. So I'd love for you to kick us off a little bit about,
Sure.
yeah,
Absolutely.
about overwhelmed
Where we're
children and
gonna
how they
where
show
we're
up.
gonna focus today is on overwhelm. And so I wanna make that clear that your child could have big emotions, your child could be sensitive, and there's a multitude of things that are on the underbelly of it. It could be friends, it could be school, it could be all of that. But we're
Mm-hmm.
going to talk about overwhelm specifically, and even with overwhelm, there's quite a bit of reasons. But
Mm-hmm.
why I wanted to focus so much on overwhelm is that, and then again, I come with 21 years of experience. And what I've noticed in our work, that when I first started, it was very tactile what parents were coming to us from, like organizing and time management and study skills. Things were like you can almost like track. And and kind of the pandemic hit and our conversations changed drastically and they became way more about anxiety and overwhelm.
Mm-hmm.
Overwhelm being the operative word that everyone coming to our table, and I'm sure yours too, we call them the 200 child. Everything's either too big, too hard, too long, right? Too exhausting, too vague, right? That's like, so you'll know at Order Out of Chaos, we kind of have we're not making fun, but we just give them much more user-friendly description so that parents as well as students can really see themselves in those descriptions. So whenever I go, anyone here of a TOO child, like I'm sure everyone's going, oh my God, that's my kid.
Yeah.
Hello. And I love that description because you're right. Everything is just, it's too much, it's too big, it's too vague, it's just too. But what we also see is that a lot of our kids, like, this is my favorite description. It's they walk out the door okay, and you hear that. You're like, wait, why is it that my kid, when he's, or my student, when they're at school or even their friends, they're good at holding it together and holding it together, and they come home and everything's just wrong, right? There's,
I
and
love this.
the snack
So
wasn't
relatable.
right, but it's true. My sister talked too much. Even the dog was like, nothing's right. And what and I love this, and I don't take credit for it, but years and years and years ago, when I had my first child, she would cry every night between the hours of 6 and 8. There is a reason I'm telling you this. So I called the pediatrician. I'm like, what is going on? And he goes, what she's doing is shedding the day. And I loved that. He goes, everything has built up through the day. As a baby, they don't have the words or whatever, whether it's stimulation. So I use that all the time with parents. Think about your child going off to school. Hold your stomach in. Remember, I work in a neurodivergent world. So hold your stomach in and hold that for 8 hours. That's your child. They come back into your door and that stomach gets let out. So all of that emotion and all of what they've been holding in has to go somewhere. So when they're upset or overwhelmed or yelling or shut down, it doesn't have to be loud. What they're in essence doing is shedding the day. So what does that even mean? What it means that to know me is to know I'm not a sciencey girl. I'm so not a sciencey girl, but I feel like you have to understand the brain to understand where overwhelm lives. And I'm going to do it in like 3 seconds. We have a right side of our brain and a left side. And how I teach parents is think left side is everything with the letter L. It's linear thinking. It's logical thinking. But that's how you remember things, right?
Yeah, I love that.
It's rational thinking. It's that this isn't so bad. I can do this. It's very calm thinking. Our right brain is all where the emotion lives, right? And what I tell parents and students, here's another thing, a little soundbite. It is always feelings over facts. Feelings are always going to win. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Because the minute that right brain is triggered, it blows up like a giant helium balloon, and that left brain is nowhere to be seen. But as parents, and here's my disqualifier, I am absolutely not disparaging parents. I am a parent. I have a TOO child. I probably even have 2 of them, if I really think about it. I am you, right? I'm in your head. Get it. I get it. So I am not here to disparage you. You're great parents. It's just that we need to understand it. What happens is we parent when our child is in right brain mode, we are parenting in left brain mode. We're either we're either being negative. I'm going to be honest. We're calm down. You're overreacting. I don't get it. And so what's happening there is you're just fueling that right brain bigger and bigger and bigger. Or we're even using words and phrases that we think are helping that do on the surface look like it. We might even be saying, oh, honey, it's not too bad. Oh, honey, it's going to be okay. And I'm here to tell you, even that fuels the right brain because you're in essence passing judgment. You're actually making your judgment about how you feel about it onto your student. So what we want you to do in those moments is only say things that are absolutely neutral. Things like, don't even say calm down. Oh God, no, I don't know about you. But every now and then I say to my husband, you have to stop left braining me right now. I need to live in my right brain, right? Don't you feel that way sometimes? Like I just need to let it out. I just need you to listen. I do not want you to left brain this way. The same goes for your kids. So we need to be saying words like, I'm here. I'm listening. Go ahead. Please keep talking if you wish. Just so that your primary goal here is to bring that right brain back to center. Now, let's say your child doesn't want you to be talking. So this is my big takeaway, okay? And sometimes even a touch works. Sometimes kids don't want to hear you, but a hug from behind is my favorite thing in the world. For a kid that is very dysregulated, coming from behind, because it completely soothes that nervous system, not from the front, from the behind, if they're okay with it. A touch of the arm, a touch of the knee, it tends to bring us back to center. But I want you to hear me say this. There's this great word, and I'm probably answering all your questions.
No,
It's
it's great.
a great acronym that I use all the time with parents. And it's the acronym WAIT. And it stands for why am I talking? Because why are you
Yeah. What
talking?
is the purpose of my talking? Is it for them or for me?
Exactly. And should I be talking in this moment?
Yeah.
And if my child, maybe you have an older child who's able to say to you, I need no one to talk to me right now. This would have been my kid at 16. He would look at me and go, I need no one to talk to me right now. And he would get up and walk out of a room. That's not a cue for you to keep following him and keep talking. That would have been me. I'm going to throw myself under the bus. No, so I'm hoping you're all on that journey of throwing ourselves under the bus with me. Because my son would say, I need 5 minutes right now. And I took it as follow him down the hall and keep talking. And then I'm like, no, 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 no. Why am I talking? Because if I'm talking, they're not.
And tell
And you,
me, quick
yes,
question, like
go ahead.
when we're talking, that's language, and isn't language in the left side of the brain? So like is that right? Language is in the left side of the brain, linguistics. So words, so like we're actually like forcing them into the left side of the brain versus
It's
letting the right like process itself, right?
exactly. But what we really want to make sure is that the words we're using in those left brain is they are going to neutralize the right
A
brain,
neutral.
not
Uh-huh.
not fuel it. So I
Right.
know you're all out there going, but wait, why is like me saying, oh, it's going to be okay, which sounds very like supportive and
Yeah.
championing. Why is that fueling the right brain? Because if you're really thinking it, if you think about it, you're projecting. It's going to be okay. Well, who says? You're saying it. Your child is not. So you want to be as neutral as possible. Like the things I said, like I'm here, keep going,
Mm.
you know, I'm listening.
I'm taking notes.
Take
Yeah,
notes,
no, I love
right?
this.
I even took notes. I understand. I understand, right? I understand.
Yeah.
I hear you. That sounds hard for you. That empathetic acknowledgement. I do want to caveat that here. I'm listening. Go on. Keep talking. I'm here.
Hmm.
But you all might be thinking, I love answering questions before they're asked. Well, what happens if my kid did something really crappy? Am I allowed to say
Mm-hmm.
that? Okay, I'm trying to keep it clean.
Yeah.
And I want to parent him, right? I want a parenting moment. I want to like, that wasn't right and that wasn't wrong. And when do I get to parent? You get to parent. So this is not permissive parenting. It's not just going, I'm going to be empathetic and let whatever happen happen. I want to make that super duper duper clear.
Yeah.
You're just not parenting at that moment. And
Right.
that's what I want to make super clear. You are going to get nowhere if you're trying to teach a lesson
Yeah.
while your child's right brain is in full on. Oh, they can see me, right? Because
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm doing lots of arm things here, but you're going to get nowhere. And in fact, you're only going to make it worse. So what you have to remember is that you can do it all, just not at the same time. So if your child's in full on right brain mode, you are not having a parenting lesson. The parenting lesson comes after the brain is back to neutral. And I think that's important for parents too, because one of my things that I had to learn the most, and I'm a parenting coach, and I do this for 20 plus years. So think about how many parents and kids have crossed. But when it's your own kids, they're not
Yeah.
always that good. Is I wanted a parent in the moment. I wanted to be like, and I also wanted to be asking the why question. Don't ask the why question. You're never going to learn. You're never going to get that answer. You're just not, because they don't
Yeah.
know, right? So
Yeah.
anyway, those are just some of my
Hmm.
very what I call parent-led language. How can we do things to help because I think it's interesting as parents, sometimes we help to diffuse the overwhelm, but unfortunately, sometimes we fuse it.
Hmm. Hmm. One of the questions that I have about that is that, I've read that, children, as they're like growing, like toddlers, I mean, even infants, toddlers, preschoolers, like they're much more in their right brain when they're younger versus their left brain. Whereas into adulthood, our brains are more integrated. We have hopefully like an even development on both sides, right? And we can use them appropriately. But adults tend to definitely go into the left brain a lot more. It's almost like, how did nature design this? Like when little babies and little kids, like they're often in their right brain and overwhelmed, but
Yes,
adults are in their left brain. So why it's so hard for parents, you know, like it's hard, it's not
it is.
natural, because our natural
No.
state with adults is to be in left brain, to talk and use words and problem solve logic,
Well,
you know?
I'm not going to get into the science of it all because you can all
Yeah.
look up the science, but it's what we're talking about is brain-based behaviors and how the brain got developed. So the brain develops, our emotional center, believe it or not, is developed first. So imagine your 13-year-old who has very, very weak executive functioning skills, which means making good choices and being able to prioritize and being able to, do the right thing at the right time, but yet his emotional center is so like, yeah, that's what you're seeing. I say 13, but yes, so imagine a toddler who doesn't have the capability and doesn't have the words. So we need to understand that. And the other thing, and this wasn't an executive functioning session, but I think the point you raise is a really good one for parents to understand. And I'm going to do this in 2 seconds too, that there's something called executive age. And it's so fascinating to me. I've been doing this for 21 years. Parents come to us in droves. My child has been diagnosed with ADHD, or my child has executive functioning challenges. And our first question is, has anyone described executive age to you? And big fat answer is no. So here's executive age. Your child might be, let's say, the chronological age of 13. So that means that there might be 13 athletically, musically, creatively, academically, okay, socially, verbally. Trust me, I hear that a lot. My 13-year-old's got a mouth on him, her, or they. Yes, I know. But their executive functions will be 30% less that chronological age. So so you're talking about a child who's 9. I don't know if I did that. Math is not my strong suit. So wait, is it 9? I think it's 9. What does that mean? Well, executive functions are, and I am doing a 2-hour presentation in 30 seconds. Your executive functions are your organizing, your time management, your prioritization, your ability to focus, to sustain effort, impulsivity, which is, in my way of saying it, I call it self-leadership. I like that a lot better. Your working memory, which is remembering to remember. It's why your child doesn't remember if he did something not so great 3 days ago and you're going, I don't get it. He didn't learn from his mistakes. It's because of working memory. And my favorite one is mood regulation. People don't realize that mood regulation is an executive function, which means stuck, anxious, frustrated, explosive. All of that overwhelm falls under executive functioning. So if your child is 13, but his executive age is 9, well, aren't you going to expect differently from a 9-year-old than you would a 13-year-old? This is what I mean by parent-led information. As parents, you really need to hold on to that. Okay, my child might be 13, but his ability to manage his emotions is of a 9-year-old. Isn't that powerful?
That's super powerful. Yeah, you're completely right. Yeah. Because it's the executive function in the prefrontal cortex that dampen the emotional response, right? But if they're just still developing that, there's no brakes. Like it's like the race car without the brakes, because it's still developing. It doesn't mean it'll never develop. It's just not there yet.
It develops, but you have to help it along. Like people ask me all the time, like, well, Leslie, you're like the Debbie Downer. Like, is my kid forever in that 30% zone? And I'm like, I can't talk for every kid. It's not a perfect science. The thing to know also is if you have a child that has executive functioning deficits, I feel bad we're doing executive functioning here. But
no, it's relevant, I think, because
you're not going to have that deficit. Your child might not have that deficit in every function. So I see kids, I'm going to say my own one. My kid was uber organized, which was a head scratcher to me, but could not find his way, like time blind. Time blind, like Eli, right? Like, hello. But yet organized, papers were always put together, his knapsack was because you're not always challenged in this all across the board. So you might have a
Uh-huh.
child who doesn't have a weak working memory, but have a hard time managing their emotions. See what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which brings me to, so what do parents do? One of my favorite, I know this is going to sound like, wow, it's a lot of work, but yeah, it is you've got to mirror that regulation. You know, we want that magic elixir. We want the special, and I've given you a few things. I've given you verbiage. To me, verbiage, if you could do anything, it's all about how you speak, but it's also the tone behind it. So it's mirroring that regulation. It's you staying calm. If they go high, you have to go low. You
Yeah.
absolutely do. Like one of my favorite tools, and this is I learned not at like parenting school, but at Leslie Parenting at Home School. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when one of my children would get like that, I would whisper. So the louder they got, the lower I got. And it helped to bring down. So it's not only the words of, I'm here, I'm listening. It was done in a manner that was like so calm. You know, you can tell I'm energetic. I speak a lot. It was very like, okay, I'm listening. I hear you. And by doing that, it brought, right? It's like reading the room. Can you match me tone for tone? So parents, if you can do anything I'm suggesting, go low, match, mirror the regulation, stay calm, stay calm. And if you feel like you cannot stay calm, I've been one of those, as long as your child is safe, remove yourself from the room. And I say that importantly, as long as your child is safe. Because the other thing to remember, and this is hard for us as parents, because we are problem solvers, we are fixers. We see our kid and we're like, oh my God, I want to fix it. What's wrong? What's the matter? Like you're having a bad moment. And my other little soundbite is that emotions are not always emergencies. And that if your child is safe, and how I describe safe is not harming themselves or others, leave it be. My favorite story ever was a mom who I was coaching called me, and she in the middle, she's like, I'm so happy right now. I'm like, tell me. She goes, I'm downstairs in my office in her house. My son is upstairs, and we put a punching bag in the room. I said, amazing, gotta let out. She goes, I hear him punching the bag. He's grunting and groaning and punching the bag. And I said, and you're not going up there. She's like, nope. Emotions are not emergencies. He's safe. He's punching. He needs to work it out. He needs to learn how. If I go up there, I'm now taking on that emotion for him. I'm taking on that executive function for him. So she was, see, I mean, we don't always, and she praised him after. Wow, I could hear you upstairs. I'm really proud of you for figuring out what you needed to bring your emotion regulation down. All of
Yeah.
those things line up. Does
Yeah,
that
it's like we have to get comfortable. We have to get comfortable
Yes.
with their uncomfortable emotions.
Oh,
And I love how you touched on this because I was gonna ask you to tell us a little bit about like how we build that frustration tolerance. That seems to be a common term nowadays, like frustration tolerance. My kid doesn't have a lot of frustration tolerance, but that's basically like what you're saying. Like they have a hard time with their difficult feelings that feel frustrating, right? And so then they just like everything's bad, the world's falling apart, I'm not doing it, no, no, no. And then the parent freaks out because they're like, oh, they're not gonna budge, they're resisting
they
going to
do budge.
school, they don't want to go, like, right, like whatever it is.
I mean, I think there's a lot of different ways. I was funny, I wasn't even planning on talking about this. I think sometimes, so I'm going to give a couple of, if I have time, I'm going to give a couple of things.
Yeah.
So what I notice a lot with students is they get that intolerance sometimes, even when we don't, I want to say this the right way. There are things that we say and do like no, that we know is going to bring on the frustration and intolerance. We know that.
Uh-huh.
And that's
Uh-huh.
okay. Listen, you can tell I have all of these like sound bites, and I have them for a reason. I feel like with parents, they help them to remember, like in the moment. Like if I just gave you long-winded prose on how to be, you're not going to remember it. But wait, why am I talking? Feelings over facts. Like, right? They're little sound bites that hopefully go into your
Mm-hmm.
brain. So one of the things with the no is I get a lot of parents who say, I'm so frustrated at my kid for what they ask. I get angry at what they ask me. I get so frustrated and I'm like, why? Why can't they ask you? What's the big deal? No, hear me out. Like they're like, really? You never got upset at your kids for asking the craziest things? I'm like, I'm trying to keep it clean. Like, who gives a you know what?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what they ask for. It's how they handle the no. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel sometimes, so there's another little thing I want you all to remember. It's not what they ask for, it's how they handle a no. Because what does it matter? Like, I remember this woman going, my daughter wanted to go to like, not just little kids, it's big kids too. Daughter
Yeah.
wanted to go to a concert an hour away. She's 16 on a Tuesday school night with all her buds. And I said no. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's your rule in your house. And she was like, but I was so angry at her for asking. And I said, well, how did she handle it? And she said, well, she was a little sorry. She was a little trying to be clean, but she's
Yeah.
16 and she got a little, she got snippy and a little pissy and walked away and went into her room and spent the night in her room. But the next morning she was fine. I'm like, did you praise her? She's like, what? I'm like, I take that as a win.
Mm.
Think about it. She handled her emotions appropriately. She was disappointed. Aren't you ever disappointed? Don't you sulk? Don't you get upset? Don't you slam a door every now and then? I certainly do. So it's not what she asked. Let's focus on how she handled the no.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that type of parent led communication and behavior that helps to bring down the frustration. Or on the other hand, allows our kids. There is no reason, there is nothing wrong with our kids being frustrated.
Mm.
There's
Love
nothing,
that.
there isn't. Oh,
Because I think one of the big stigmas in parenting is that I need to make sure my child is always happy and that we're
no,
cuddling and
no,
everybody's smiling and it's
no.
just a joyous home. And it's like, well, that's not the reality always.
I think how you put on, I think it's my kids are old because I'm old. My kids are 30 and 26. So they are full on humans, right? They are like blown and grown big people.
Yeah.
But if they were here today, what they would say, and I know I'm allowed to say this, my son is the neurodivergent one. Very careful what I disclose. He's a grown man. I don't talk about it because it's his, I'm very big on parental privacy. And I think that's important in a parenting summit. I do not disclose information unless I am given permission. I have permission to say that. But what my kids would tell you, even the neurodivergent one, is that what kept the house calm was that I didn't move the goalposts. And I keep saying I have a husband, been married 32 years. He's an amazing parent. But to be very blunt, like when it came to this kind of stuff, because I do it for a living, he was like, this is all you. I'll work with them on the jobs, right? And the schoolwork,
Yeah.
but you get this, which is fine. But they will tell you that I never moved the goalpost. I was clear and concise in what was expected and what the parameters were. And so there was a calmness around that. They might not have liked it, but having those parameters, like they knew what to expect. And I'm going to tell you this for all of your parents out there that are raising neurodivergent children. If you want to prevent the overwhelm, the being caught off guard is one of the major reasons why your children get overwhelmed. Those that have neurodivergent brains need consistency. They need structure. They need calm. When they are caught off guard, the brain like floods beyond belief. Okay. I know there's been major flooding on the East Coast right now. Think about 10 inches of water in an hour. right? 10 inches of rain. I'm a Northeast girl who's now in LA, but think of that. The brain just floods. It's got to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to leak out. That caught off guardness, right? So how I teach parents parenting is you set the parameter. So here is my another little saying for all of you. It is your job as the parent to set the parameters, but it is your child's job to negotiate them.
Mm-hmm.
Not permissive parenting. That is
Yeah,
not
yeah.
permissive parenting.
No, I love that because the parent is setting this is the limit, this is the boundary.
This is the
But
boundary.
yeah,
I like parameter because boundary
parameter,
is very
rigid.
parameter has a little bit of like wiggly room. And I might not be sounding as professional, but remember, I talk to students and parents all day long. So my language is very user friendly. It's
Yeah.
visual. I want parents to see it because when we see things, we remember it. So I want you as parents to remember it's your job to set parameters. It is your job, okay? Job. You have to set parameters.
Yeah.
Child's job to negotiate them. In my home, the parameters never moved. They moved as they got older. I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
But all the whining and cajoling and nope, asked and answered, asked and answered, asked and answered over. And my son at 26 will tell you that being raised that way with his ADHD was what helped him be calm. That he knew the parameters.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the constant, like in the math equation, it's like there's a constant that doesn't change versus the variable one. It's like, I don't know. It makes me like anxious to know that there's a variable that changes, but the constant, I can always count on that. I think it eases anxiety too.
Yes. Well, so I have a funny one for you, which you parents out there probably don't even think about. And my son would say that I was I was calm. I am a calm parent. I know I'm like animated. I'm animated, but I was never a yeller because yelling, stop the yelling. Stop the yelling. They're not listening. They're not hearing you. In fact, it's only making them more dysregulated. If you feel like you need to yell, go outside, sit in your car and scream. That would be me. What I would do with my son, and I do this with our student coaching clients and our parent coaching clients, I teach you how to preempt things so to keep that overwhelm down. So one of my favorite things is parents, I'm sure if they were all in a room today, every one of us would raise our hand. We'll say to our kids, I'm going to use my son's name as an example. Hey, Eli, can you come downstairs for a minute? Now, maybe you don't have an upstairs, downstairs in your house. Can you come here for a minute? We think that's totally innocuous, right? Like, what are we saying? That's so horrible, Leslie. How is that going to make you have a neurodivergent child? There's something about that there's a lot of things going on in their head. Number one, I've been caught off guard. I don't like to be caught off guard. I'm caught off guard. My back's up against the wall. I might get a little defiant. Why do I have to? What do I want to do? Oh my God, right? But the second thing that's there is the first thing they're thinking is, what did I do? What did I do? You remember, neurodivergent children hear negative messages like 200, I don't remember the exact number, but it's like 200 times a day, more so than their neurotypical. Yeah. Right. So the very first thing that's happening is, what did I do? I ask every one of my students, I'm like, when a parent or a caregiver says, can you come here? What's your first thought? What? Gotta be clean. What the heck did I do? And the scary thing is they don't remember, because remember, working memory is weak. So now they're like, oh my God, what did I do? Did the teacher? They can't. So we do a lot of preempting time and topic. We teach that in our parenting groups. We teach that in all our webinars. This thing about as much as you can. You can't do it all the time. But imagine if you changed that scenario and said, hey, like, can you come in here to talk about, I'm just making this up, carpooling tomorrow. It'll take 5 minutes. What did I just do there? I preempted topic and I preempted time. And time is big. Remember, caught off guard. How long is this going to take me? It's so nuanced and it seems so silly, but if you ask every kid, they will say, I love that. And the craziness is my kid is still 26. I still text him, go, I have 3 things. Now we're not formal. We're very like, we have a great
Yeah.
relationship
Yeah.
and all that, but hey, E, I have 3 things I need to chat with you about. Nothing's wrong. It'll take me about 10 minutes. When will you have time? Or
Mhm.
I'll go, question 1. And I do them one. I still do it. I still do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Now differently, because he's 26 and he lives, you know what I mean? He's not in my house. But I've learned that that preempting of topic and time keeps your child's right brain from blowing up.
Mm.
And think of
Yeah, I
how
love
good that is.
that.
Don't you love that?
Because yeah, I love that because yeah, because I think like for the child, there's just so much like they're overstimulated, right? Like these big feelings with
Well, it's the
like too many
unknown.
like unknowns. It's like now it's like, oh, now they have to think about this and this and this, and it's just
But
too
think
much.
about
And
what
then
happens.
floods.
Yes. Think about what happens in a classroom.
Yeah.
Teachers, you are amazing. They are doing this, and sometimes because I work in the schools all the time. I'm asked to come in and teach like executive functioning and how to
Uh-huh.
teach first exec. And I go to them like, you're doing this, but let me teach you why it's working or what it is
Oh
you're doing
yeah, yeah, yeah,
working. And they're like, I don't even think about it. I'm like, teachers are so good at going, okay, for the next 20 minutes,
yeah,
we're going to have a lecture on Mesopotamia. Okay, right? Then they'll go, okay, for the next 10 minutes, you're going to work on the vocab words at your desk or with your partner or with your group. For the next 5 minutes, you're going to work on the do now. Notice no one's getting caught off guard.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Teachers like, that's why it works. I'm like, that's why it works.
yeah, yeah.
Because so we try to take some of those lessons that our amazing teachers are doing, because they are doing in my work world, they're doing heroes work. And we say, how can we bring that home? How can we
Mm-hmm.
bring that home? Preempting topic
Mm-hmm.
and time. The other thing I would love you all to do at home, if you can, because I know every one of you is having this. This is this scenario. Let's say you want to have a big conversation with your child.
Mm-hmm.
Try not to tag team them. Try to avoid the 2-on-1s as much as you can, because we know what happens with the 2-of-1. I start talking and my spouse is like, well, wait, but I want to tell this, but no, but I'm talking, but I don't like how you're saying it, but you didn't say that to him. Now you two are in it. Oh, you're all laughing out there because you're like, oh my God, does she live in my house? Of course I live in your house. It's my house. Okay. Seriously. But all of this, we learned this years and years and years ago, that when we were parenting the neurodivergent, one of our neurodivergent child, is we did much better with the one-on-one. They
Mm-hmm.
felt less attacked. They
Yeah,
felt that there was more collaboration. There was no sidebarring between my husband and
yeah,
I. And then we did this with my daughter too, because we were talking about this before. This is
yeah,
universal. This is universal. It works for all children. Now, I know that there are times when 2 of you have to be together. I get it. Trust me.
yeah,
I get it. But as much as you can, figure out
yeah.
how you're going to do it, right? Because you will see a huge difference in the communication,
Mm-hmm.
which again is all about overwhelm with your child.
Yeah. So I wonder like if something happened, let's say your kid got into a car wreck and you're both driving to support them or whatever, or something happened, you want to talk to them and you're both kind of anxious about it, or you both want to talk about it. Is it better to decide who's gonna like basically do the first one-on-one? Is it better to send in the one that's less anxious, that's not as like emotionally
Yes,
charged by it?
yes, that would be me. No, not always. Interesting enough, like people would think that I wouldn't be because of what I do, and my husband's an attorney, so he's no. It really, we had very different things that charged us, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
so like school was always my thing because I do this for a living. Meaning
yeah,
we are student coaches for ADHD kids. Couldn't be more meta than that. So school didn't bother me, never bothered me. Anything that happened in school ever bothered me. I just, not that I didn't care, I just was never that parent that was so like, because I owned one of them and I did it for a living and my job is to help you
yeah.
go like this. So if it was school related, I would be the one pretty much to like have the one-on-ones. Um, And if it was more like, yeah, the driving or the, 16-year-old behavior, that wasn't too, did you really make the good choice there? I said my husband in. Now I work with hundreds of thousands of parents over the years. Not everyone has the luxury
Right.
of two parents like that. There are a lot of parents that come across my screen who don't believe in the same thing, who really are at odds themselves. I want you to know I see you and I hear you. That's really important. That it doesn't always work that way. So
Yeah.
if you're the parent who has to be having all of the hard conversations, I feel it and I'm here to support you in that. So there's, I know that I am blessed to have a partner for 32 years that joins me on that same parenting philosophy, as opposed to a lot who come to the table with, I don't believe my kid is neurodivergent. I believe in tough parenting. I believe that they should just be. So
yeah, at least take turns, right? They can at least then take turns instead of still, doubling up.
Yes.
Yeah.
The doubling up just really, really makes your kid. We call it the hoodie and earphone syndrome. They just want to go like this. They want to just, don't you love all my isms? Because you see it. They're all like, I don't want it. And the same, I know do we have some more?
Yeah, we have a few more minutes.
Like the same thing goes with lying. Like I get a lot of people who come to me, like, my kid lies, my kid lies. Now, I'm not talking about the lying of like, okay, I have a 17-year-old who's like leaving the house in the middle of the night to take the car and drive an hour away to do God knows what. Okay, no.
Yeah.
That's like, I'm talking about the petty lies, the fibs.
Yeah.
We'll call them fibs, right? I did my homework. I cleaned my room. I fed the dog, and the dog's like, right? It's those the petty ones. And what again, it's we want to parent our kid in that moment. And I have no tolerance for lying. You have to know, like I grew up that way. I really don't. I feel like lying to me is just, but I want you as parents to think about this. How are you reacting to the truth?
Right.
Might be, I don't want to say forcing, but might be making your child lie. And I start there because again, if we are not accepting of the truth, if we are really coming down on our kids for us telling us the truth, what kind of environment are we then setting up to promote truthfulness? Your kid's gonna lie. So I gotta tell you, that's what they tell me, right? I mean,
it's like a defense. It's like a self-preservation method for survival. I mean, lying saves them from danger, which is
we don't see it. And this is like I say this, like there are things that I talk about that are research proven, and there are things that are Leslie proven after 21 years. This is Leslie proven. All of your kids tell me that. Like, you think I'm going to tell my mother or father, whomever, the truth, that they won't even listen to the truth. So it's just easier, your point, to lie. The other thing you have to remember is sometimes your child would rather lie and take the consequence than do whatever it is you're asking them to do, because believe it or not, it's easier. You might be asking your kid to actually do things that they do not know how to do. So which one are they taking? I don't know how to do this. This is too much, too big, too hard, too vague, just too. You know what? So I won't have my phone for a week. Whatever, I'll get it back in 3 days anyway. Just gonna lie. All the time. So the other thing, I know this is really hard for all of you. You can't take lying personally. It's a rare kid. I didn't say all kids, but it is a rare kid that wakes up in the morning and goes, you know what I want to do today? I really want to piss off my parents.
Yeah.
So remember this. Do not catch your kid off guard. Do not, like, in the moment. Why'd you lie? Why'd you lie? They're not going to answer you. In fact, if anything, they're going to go into fight, flight, freeze, or fin. One of those four. What you want to do is set a time. I think you might need some time to think through what really happened. So why don't we sit down at 7 o'clock and have a conversation? That should give you some time to collect your thoughts. See what I did? I'm taking it down. I'm not catching my child in overwhelm. I'm not catching my child off guard. And the other thing I ask you as parents to please not do is catch your child. Like, if you know your child lie, do not catch them in that lie and go, aha. How about like, I saw that I saw that like, I don't know, like maybe you're on Schoology or whatever the heck you're, and I not go, did you do your homework? All for them to say yes when you know 4 assignments are missing. Don't do that. What comes from that? Just approach them and say, you know what? I saw Schoology today. I noticed there were 4 assignments missing. Let's chat about what's going on. Don't try to catch them in that lie because
Yeah.
nothing good's going to come out of that either. And one more, that does not mean you do not get to impose natural consequences. But just again, remember what I said to you, you can't parent and keep the overwhelm down at the same time. I am all for natural consequences, ones that make sense.
Yeah.
But if your child really doesn't know how to write that paper,
Yeah.
telling him he has to write that paper before he can go out and hang out with like, Leslie, they're still not going to write the paper.
Mm-hmm. Or if they go to school and they don't have it turned in, and the natural consequence is that they get an F, that's a natural consequence, but it's not good for them. It's just hitting their
Right.
self-esteem so hard.
Exactly.
And it's like they need skills,
Right.
they need some support,
Right.
resources, right?
Yes. So again, I'm not about all, it's not permissive, but remember what I said. It's your job as the parent to set the boundaries or parameters, and it's your
Mm-hmm.
child's job to negotiate them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ah, so powerful. So many great resources. I want to really say thank you for educating us, really, because there's so many common scenarios, and I love how you break it down into like very parent language and like day-to-day scenarios, because this is the reality of parenting kids. And
It is. We tend to spend a lot of our time talking about the big things, but what we're not really diving
yeah,
into, like every day, like what is
yeah,
happening in your house every day that you can do a little bit differently. I didn't say
yeah.
better. How can I communicate differently? How can I ask differently? Like, I'm going to leave you with one more thing. This is such a
Mm-hmm.
simple switch in language. It takes time, but we're big as parents on the you need to. I want you to. You should be. That's going to create over. Now, again, I don't want you all coming after me going, we're tiptoeing around kids. I understand that, trust me, I understand kids have things they have to get done. And sometimes we do need to say, you have to, you should, I need you to. Bottom line, right?
Yeah,
But if there are scenarios where you do not have to say, I need you
yeah,
to, I should, I would like you to try to use words like, what do you think? How about this? Are you willing to try? Notice it's a little bit more collaborative. And what you're doing is putting choice and control to your child. That agency piece, and guys, I know this 21 years, do the math. I wrote a whole book about it. Why do your kids procrastinate? I know this wasn't about procrastination. Believe it or not, it's choice and control. There's research being proven all over. If you don't know who Dr. Stickrod is, you need to look him up. He wrote the best book. I don't know if you
Dr. William
William
Stickler.
Stickrod,
Yeah,
Bill.
yeah, yeah.
But
And Ned Johnson. Uh-huh.
I love them. But they did this research that the more anxious your kid gets is
Yeah.
because they have less choice and control. That is research proven. I take no credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
So choice
Mm-hmm.
and control is how I would like to leave you with today.
I love that. It's a tall order for parents that are in the habit of over controlling and not giving choices. But like you said, we can start with small things.
Small things.
With something small today. Offer them a choice between this or this.
Yes,
When you can, like you
let
said.
them negotiate it. Absolutely.
And that will decrease their anxiety overall because they feel more empowered. They feel like, oh, look, I have some freedom. I can do it my way. And it's like, they're not winning. You're raising an adult here, right? Like you want it to be an adult that feels like I have a choice, like about my life
A little
versus.
more for the in my neurodivergent world, it's a little more
Yeah.
nuanced than that. It's that not all kids, none of this is an absolute. I really want to make sure everyone hears me say that. But there's a feeling of out of control. There's a feeling of not like, with kids, not knowing what to do or knowing what to do and not being able to do it, or being time blind, or all of these like out of control feelings and thoughts. So this need to give them as much choice and control it helps to center them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It helps to empower and it helps to give them agency. So
Mm-hmm.
lots of yes.
Oh, I love that. Yes, so good, so good. And would you share a little bit about your freebie that you have for parents? Because I know that will be the next place they need to go to
Yes.
check out more resources on this work.
So we are very, very big at Order Out of Chaos. And when we do, working with parents on helping them create, we call it problem solvers versus direction followers. We want kids to learn how to problem solve, right? Because that's what they really need to be able to do in life. So we
Right,
created
right.
this 10 questions that you as the parent in everyday dialogue. It's not sitting down with them and going, here are the 10 questions I want to ask you. It's
That would be
questions
controlling, right? No, I'm
that
just
would be
kidding.
very, or a little weird. It's questions that I want you to incorporate into your everyday language. Again, it's parent-led language, parent-led questions that
Uh-huh.
will help initiate that piece of the brain in your child. And what I've done with this questionnaire or these questions is not only giving you the questions, but what the purpose of the question is.
Mm-hmm.
So, meaning it's to promote time awareness, or it's supposed to promote, working memory, or it's supposed to promote, take down overwhelm. It'll explain to you each question what the point of the question is for your child. And it's free.
I love that. And of course, that's super helpful for kids with executive function challenges. But as we talked about earlier, all kids are still
All
developing their
kids.
brain, like till they're 30. And even when we're 40, 50, we can always improve our executive function skills. So it can never hurt to build these
Never can
skills.
hurt.
It just is more helpful for neurodiverse
Yes.
children. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I was really delighted to talk to you today.
Yeah, this was fun. I hope everyone learned a few things, have a few sayings they're going to take home.
Yes,
Yes.
very practical
Thank you.
and easy to remember with the visuals. So
And
really appreciate it.
There's tons and tons and tons more on our website. I'm sure you're going to be giving.
Yes, we're going to link that below with the freebie.
Yes,
so people can check that out.
Tons of free resources for you to check us out.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, everyone.